PurelyPoultry.com has both the chickens and supplies you need to raise your own poultry.
Would you like pets who produce eggs you can barter with? Your own source of clean meat?
A swan on your pond to make your home strikingly beautiful?
How about some pheasants and quail roaming in your woods for enjoyment? If so, check out PurelyPoultry.com.
Burger House 41 is open at 1860 West Mason in Green Bay. You're invited to indulge in one of life's simplest pleasures, a great burger. We're grilling up 15 fresh signature burgers and have over 30 craft beers for the perfect pairing. Experience Wisconsin's best flavors, including white cheddar cheese curds, a variety of specialty sandwiches, milkshakes, and gourmet frozen custard. Burger House 41 at 1860 West Mason is open at 11 a.m. daily. Taste Wisconsin. Taste amazing.
6%? 7%? That's a lot of money. I might as well just do it myself. Well, that might be true, if a lot of that money you're paying a real estate broker is going toward outdated methods, unnecessary fancy offices, and overpaying executives for a lifetime of service. But you don't need to go that route. Silver Compass Realty is a full-service real estate brokerage serving all of South Central Wisconsin, and the commission is negotiable. Silver Compass will explain exactly what they're going to do to help you buy or sell a home, how that will help you reach your goals, and stand right beside you every step of the way. They want to be your broker, your expert, even when you're not in the middle of a transaction. Silver Compass Realty, helping you find your way home. Contact them today at silvercompassrealty.com or call 608-361-8608. Silver Compass Realty, helping you find your way home. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for listening to the Free People Show tonight at freepeopleshow.com, as well as on all of our platforms, including and especially Spreaker and iTunes and Facebook. Peace, Facebook peeps. So joining us now, my co-host, intrepid co-host, Miles Kristen, who is a video journalist and an activist for government transparency. He is the founder of Wisconsin International Radio and the artistic coordinator, a title I just gave him about an hour ago, of the Yellow Rose Gallery, which is in this very building at 122 State Street in Madison. He is everywhere, knows just about everything, and is unafraid of telling the truth about whoever, wherever. Welcome, Miles.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. You have a pet subject tonight. We're going to talk about. He's been working up a lather on this particular thing, wanting to talk about this for a couple of weeks, I think. At least.
Yeah, well, actually, I've been thinking about this subject for the last couple months since this started, and yeah.
So lay it on us.
Okay, so Berkeley, Antifa and the Alt-Right. To start off, where did this all start? What happened? Well, it goes back to right after the election when controversial speaker Milo Yiannopoulos was speaking at the University of Berkeley in California. And Antifa came in and they lit some sort of generator or light structure on fire. They then later, as a woman was giving an interview, they pepper sprayed her. They beat her with sticks and then even maced her.
And what is their objection to Milo and the stuff that was going on? Why are they doing this in the first place?
Well, because Antifa has no ability to see the difference between a conservative or a libertarian and alt-rights and Nazis. Everything's just the same. The
same thing to them.
And while we're on the subject, Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro have both been called Nazi, white nationalist, all of the above. When in reality, both of them are Jewish, both of them strongly support the state of Israel, and neither of them are Nazis. I don't agree with these guys on their politics, right, on their views on a lot of issues, but they're not Nazis, okay? We got to stop referring to people as Nazis just because they're conservative. That is one thing they're really wrong on. But so there's this protest, and now this woman gets pepper sprayed and maced and beaten with these sticks because she was wearing a red hat. When we actually look at her hat, what it actually said was, "Make Bitcoin great again." Now, I've had the chance to talk to this woman. She's a very nice, sincere person, but it's insane that we've gotten to a point where people can be beaten for wearing a particular hat, and
so they thought it was, obviously they thought it was a "Make America Great Again" hat without actually looking at it. Had a violent irrational emotional reaction and actually went. I mean, they at no point did they say, "Wait a minute, we made a mistake."
And why is
here."
this not a national news story? I mean,
well, we know why it's not a national
if
news
she was
story.
wearing a Hillary Clinton hat and Republicans pepper sprayed her and maced her, it would have been on MSNBC every night for a week.
Well, the rest of the networks too.
Yeah, but because this woman was wearing a red hat, and because she probably didn't get defended so much in the national news because she wasn't exactly a known Trump supporter or whatever. It was a Bitcoin thing, and they don't want to be promoting.
Well,
Bitcoin.
a lot of the reporters are like, Bitcoin. What's that?
So this thing happened in Berkeley soon after the election, and the university cops and the cops of Berkeley just pretty much stood by and watched all of this madness happen. And we skip forward a little bit to the day of the inauguration, and there was the whole scene about Richard Spencer getting punched in the face, which we could argue the pros and cons of that. I actually okay with punching Nazis because it's maybe one of the last groups we had an actual real declared war against. And that was a very direct, punch to him, but yet the person did it and then they ran away. And how much do they really stand for their, issue if they're just going to sucker punch a guy and then run away? And, 200 people got arrested that day in Washington, D.C. And strategically, that's a pretty stupid thing to do. You're about to go into this long battle, if you will, with your political opposition, and then what you do on day one is dress up like ninjas and put yourself out there saying, "Hey, look at us! We're the which that's
We're
another
the new Democratic Party."
That's another thing about this whole Antifa thing that we have to be concerned about. It is the most easily I want to say co-opted, but this movement of Antifa or whatever. It would be so easy for the government to put agent provocateurs into this and cause chaos. Like that's what happened in the WTO protest back in the late 90s is the government sent people in and they broke windows, and then the government was able to come in and crack everyone's heads. So Antifa thing is incredibly stupid. The alt-right, the real actual alt-right people, not everyone being labeled alt-right, because people like Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro are being labeled as alt-right when they're not actually alt-right. The alt-right is nothing more than anti-Semitic internet trolls. I mean, that's what we really got to deal with, is that this alt-right thing is a very truly racist,
explicitly racist
subsection of our society.
Yeah,
and that's what I got to, that's the underlining thing I'm trying to get through on this, is that Antifa and the alt-right are basically the polar opposites of just the complete idiocracy spectrum that we have right now in American society. I mean, you've got, in a lot of ways, this is an offshoot of the 2016 election. We've got these Antifa people who are, they don't use logic or reason. They're idiotic. They're paranoid. They're angry. They're violent. And you've got these alt-right people who are racist and also violent and also dangerous. And we need to be concerned about both. Now, my third point to get to, which is most important, is what happened in Berkeley the second time around.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
So it's not clear as to how this all came together. There was supposed to be some sort of a free speech rally, and yes, it included Trump supporters, members of the alt-right, veterans who were there for just standing up for the Constitution and freedom of speech. Apparently, also members of the original free speech protests of Berkeley, because free speech movement started in Berkeley in the 60s. There's a documentary about that from way back when. But what started as a free speech rally in Berkeley more recently turned into absolute chaos. The attendees of this rally were told you can't bring weapons in, you got to go through this barricade to get in, so forth, so forth. Antifa, whatever you want to call them, they came in, jumped the barricades, and soon violence broke out. And we're talking, the Antifa people are whipping glass bottles, bricks, M80 explosives, other they were seen with knives. They were whipping out weapons. I mean, violence and chaos came out in the streets of Berkeley.
A planned attack, not just a reaction to something, but a planned disruption.
I mean,
right?
I'm sure that the Antifa...
I mean, you got to go there with this stuff in your hand. You don't just
in fact,
all of a sudden decide to go to stop and go again.
No, and I'm sure a lot of these alt-right people had gone there with the intention that there was going to be violence too. So really, you're dealing with two groups of people who don't even live in the city of Berkeley necessarily. A lot of these Antifa people were from San Francisco. A lot of the alt-right people were from different parts of the country. But you had two groups of people coming to the city of Berkeley with the idea that they were going to get themselves in a violent situation, which is really bad on so many levels, especially for the people living in the city of Berkeley. But one particular case was where you see this woman getting punched by a white nationalist. Really, they're just Nazis. They're hipster Nazis. They're modern day neo-Nazis. But point is, this girl was no hero either. Molly Locks is one of the names that she uses. She had said she was going down there with the intent. She posted that she was going down there with the intent to scalp 100 Nazis.
Scalp.
Yeah.
So she's...
That's a pretty messed up term if you think of the history of that term.
Exactly.
But she posted she was going down there to commit violence. She was interviewed while the M80s were going off, while people were getting bricks thrown at each other. And here's the thing is, there are two groups of people violently fighting. There's a lot of journalists from all different spectrums in between. Mm-hmm. And then there's citizens of Berkeley who maybe heard there was going to be a protest. They didn't think, oh, this one's going to be violent. How many protests have gone on in Berkeley?
So they show up in good faith, like a good old-fashioned, let's just walk down there and march, and all of a sudden they're being attacked on both sides.
People in the city of Berkeley, in downtown Berkeley, like, I got to go to work. Oh, I'm going to go to the coffee shop. They hear there's going to be a protest. They don't assume it's going to turn into a riot.
Exactly.
There are innocent people on the streets of Berkeley who got probably caught up in the middle of this crap pulled off by these two groups of people that need to be opposed. These two groups of people need to be opposed by everybody, be it Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Socialist. Anybody needs to be opposing these two violent, idiotic ideologies, and it needs to stop now. These people on both of these little segments, these little groups, are extremely dangerous. So this incident happens where this Molly girl gets punched by this white nationalist Nazi guy, and she said she was going down there to scalp people. She got interviewed that day, asked about the M80s going off, and she said, well, the revolution's going to be violent. She gets punched in the face. A few days later, she's interviewed on air, and she's saying that, she got punched in the face, but the scratches already healed. She put up a GoFundMe page or an Indiegogo page or whatever to raise $80,000 to pay for her medical bills. There's no photos of her medical experience, so she's now changed it to Molly takes punch for labor. This neo-Nazi guy who he's an Iraq War vet with PTSD who got thrown in jail, in prison for a hate crime when he robbed a taxi cab driver at gunpoint. He's become a hero to these alt-right people. There is no hero. The Antifa girl and the white nationalist guy, they're both scum of the earth, violent idiots. And what's going to happen is the government, be it the city government, the national government, they're going to be able to make more laws out of all this crap. They're going to be able to get more resources for riot gear out of this crap. And
it'll justify all that military gear going to local police forces.
Exactly.
This is the sort of thing that'll justify
so
that. We don't want or need that at all.
The poor of Berkeley are going to be the most affected. The peaceful protesters of Berkeley are going to be negatively affected by the actions of all these idiots. These idiots who came into the city of Berkeley with the intent to create violence. I got more.
Yeah,
we have a break coming up. Okay. All right. Well, I got more. I just wanted to get that all out.
No, you keep going, Miles.
I'll
cut you off on
Molly Locks, whatever her name is.
So what side is she on again?
The Antifa people, she's
Antifa,
trying to raise $80,000, and she's already raised like at least $6,000 or $7,000 of it.
People are giving her money without
any idea. And where is the Berkeley police in this whole situation? But a block away, watching all this crap as all these people are lighting explosives and whipping bricks and pushing garbage cans at each other, and it's just stupid crap. I mean, and there's a lot of journalists that were in the middle of this stuff filming, but you can kind of tell that most of the journalists are kind of more to one side or the other, and it's really hard to figure out what really happened because all the news stories are centered towards one or the other when no, they're both idiots. So, and then let's really get down to this whole alt-right versus Antifa thing.
And we'll cover that after we come back from the break. Miles is wound up, and rightfully so. There's a lot of stuff here to talk about, not just the narrative of what happened, but why these people are so angry, how they relate to the government and the media. And Miles is right on in his analysis of the situation. We'll cover more of it as we come back from break.
Red.
You listen to yeah, he's bright red. If you're watching on Facebook, he's wound up. But yeah, this is a serious issue. Obviously, very, very serious. And we'll get back to this after our break. You're listening to The Free People Show at freepeopleshow.com.
Would you like to experience